You know what I'm saying?
And some of it'd be like half credits or quarter
Yeah,
credits. All the
bro.
credits won't be there. But
So
hey,
certain albums, like when I went and got, Life After Death, and certain albums, like, nah, I'm gonna save up for this and really do this the right way so that I can read those credits. So that was influential for me, right? Where I would read the credits. I would find out who the A&Rs were. I would actually see, because the addresses to the labels and the studios that they worked at and recorded at was on the credits.
right.
So I would show up. I would stand out in front of Def Jam, you know what I'm saying? Waiting for Hove to come out, waiting for Ja Rule to come out, waiting for DMX to come out, waiting for Redman to come out, and then hand them a beat tape or hand them a beat CD, you know what I'm saying? I would stand in front of the studios, do the same thing.
Are you out there with the physical CDs?
Yeah, with the physical CDs. I remember Rucker. Going up to Rucker in Harlem, bro.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And, I know there's a lot going on, but it is what it is. Puff was out there, and I remember walking up to him and not giving him a CD. I just introduced myself because I'm like, and I'm a youngin', but I'm like, we in Harlem, it's Rucker, a lot of beautiful women out here. What he ain't worrying about?
He don't want no CD right now, man.
But if I can walk up to him and say, what's up, and introduce myself, I say, yo, my name is Amadeus, I'm a producer, you know what I'm saying? One day I'm gonna be a bad boy hitman. And he looked at me, he's like, all right, Playboy, and walked away. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get to that. But 10, 15 years later, it came true. Bad Boy Hitman. And I remember being in the studio with him and telling him like, yo, you was at Ruck, I pulled up on you with a CD in my hand, but never gave it to you and just told you my name. And you said, yo, that's a dope name. That's a dope name, Playboy. All right, that's what's up.
Yeah.
And so that was
that's your real name?
Nah, that's my production name. Now my name is Antoine Thompson, but my producer name that I decided upon was Amadeus.
What made you go with that name? That shit is so complicated to say.
Bro, it is crazy. I mean, I didn't love it. I remember trying to choose a name, and I mean this on my late day.
No, I don't mean to stop you. Let's go back to let's go back before you get there. Before we get back to that, because we need to know where you at. Like you said, you seen him at the Rucker. Well, then we gonna go back to the name situation.
Okay. So go back to the
Rucker. You telling us how you got your first situation.
Oh wait, so no.
He just was saying how he was
working.
working.
Yeah, that was just that's just me saying what's up. Introducing myself. My first placement was Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown.
How'd you get it?
I actually went up to see her brother, who I didn't know was her brother. My cousin. Excuse me. Shout out to Joe. My cousin Joe was working for Anton Marchand, who was the director of A&R and Interscope. So he found out I was making beats, heard it was dope, set me up with a meeting with him. Went up there. Now, when I first started producing, I was all hip hop. Everything hip hop, hard drum, sample, no R&B, no pop, no, just straight hip hop. Went up there, played him everything. He was just like, yo, these are crazy, but there's absolutely nothing I can do with any of this. He was working on like Maya and City High and like Wyclef.
Was that the conversation before you got there?
That wasn't even the conversation we got there. It was just
he heard it.
Yeah, it was just the meeting when I got up there of what he was working on.
Yeah, because I'm trying to see your preparation. Like what would
I just put my hottest beats on.
Just what I got. Yeah.
On what I got on CD and just pulled up and played it for him, and he said what he said. And the dope part was he was like, yo, I really love what you're doing. These are fire. It doesn't work for who I'm working on,
right?
But it'll be dope for my sister. So I said, who's your sister? So he said, Foxy. I said,
man, ain't your sister, man. Get your ass out of here,
man. Ain't your sister. And back to credits, I do research. So I'm looking at his name on his desk, and his name is Anton Marchand. And I said, oh, that's really her brother, because her name is Inga Marchand.
Yeah.
Because just reading them credits and knowing.
And
right?
Putting that.
So he like, yo, she gonna be at Chung King Studios at 7. Pull up, play the same beats, the same order. I know my sister, she gonna love something, right? So I stood in the city all day.
Yeah,
Waste, I ain't have nothing going on. I'm walking around, chilling. 7 o'clock hit, I was in front of that studio. Got buzzed in, walked in, she's sitting right there. And I'm bugging because I had her on. I had it in my locker, bro. I had to post the Foxy in my
that
locker,
brown,
bro.
that beautiful butter brown. Woo! That dark butter brown.
Bruh.
Wow.
It's like 2003.
Bro, yeah. Like, so we sitting in, and I'm walking in. I'm like, yo, this is Foxy, bro. And she was straight to it. What you got? I heard you got some heat. Let me hear it. Played the CD, and she was cool, nonchalant. You know, she didn't want. All right, that's what's up. You go to the next one. All right, go to the next one. You, as a producer, you hate to hear go to the next one. Right. Go to the next one is frowned upon.
This some shit you telling
me.
Not
my boy.
You know? Go to the next one is frowned upon, right? So she did that about 4 or 5 times, right? Stops. It's like, all right, I'm good. And she was like, can you leave this with me? And I'm like, all right, yeah, I can leave with you. Leave that with me. She's like, let me see if I catch a vibe. All right, so she's like, you good? And so I bounced. As soon as I walked out of the room, I was like, yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
I see Brown, bro. I went to the crib.
How old were you at this time? You mind me asking? 18, 19?
Yeah, bro. About 18, 19.
He was
something there around there, yeah. And the next day, you know, I went home, hyped up, making mad beats that night, just inspired.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just
Right
left
back
Foxy
to it.
Brown, bro. Next day, I got a call. He was like, yo.
The next day?
Next day, bro. Next day, he was
He
like,
must
yo,
be
she
playing that
recorded.
shit.
Oh, bro.
He was playing that shit up there.
Bro.
And she in the studio.
Yeah. Next day, yo, she recorded 2 songs. And I was like, word? He was like, yeah, she was working on DMX, rest in peace, DMX. DMX was working on his movie and soundtrack, Cradle to the Grave.
Oh, I remember Cradle to the Grave.
And he was like, she wrote a song and she wrote the actual title track to the soundtrack. So the name of the song is Cradle to the Grave, My Life. And then he was like, and then, you know, she had a little beef with Eve going on from Rough Riders.
I didn't know that. I never knew that.
So then she wrote another record, a diss record called Get Off Me. So
you in the video like this down the back.
So now I'm hyped over the Cradle to the Grave joint. This is a movie joint. It's a soundtrack, right? But I'm nervous about Get Off Me.
You burn a bridge.
Because I'm like, yo, I love Eve, bro. I love Rough Riders. And I was living in Yonkers.
Oh, man.
So kissing them was down the street.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, bro.
But it wasn't.
Did we see this dude go to the store?
Bro, but now here's what's dope. There wasn't no social media. Wasn't no YouTube. Wasn't no online yet. So, you know, I was worried about something that ain't really matter. And then, you know, I had a lot of producer heroes that I admired and looked up to. Shout out to Buck Wild and D-Dot. And, you know, they were like, bro, you good? This ain't got nothing to do with you. You know, you made the beat. You ain't tell her what to write. You ain't
help her with the lyrics.
You know what I mean? So that was my first 2 placements as a producer. And for the Cradle to the Grave.
So your first 2 placements was a beef.
It was a beef and a titled song to the theme, to the soundtrack. And the album sold 500,000 copies, hard copies. Right. So it went gold. So I got my first plaque from that.
But let's lead us to, you know, it was a guy that was on other podcasts just recently. He was talking about Diddy, and he said he sued Hov, so on and so forth. Let's talk about publishing. Were you allotted publishing? Did you?
I got everything. I got everything I deserved.
And how many points did you get?
The average rate back then was 3 points.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? I sampled, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot whether it was Surface or forgot who I sampled. So the sample took what the sample took as well.
So they took half the points off the sample? So you got a 1.5 point?
Well, no, they go for the publishing. So it's 50% publishing, you know, for the producer. So if a sample, let's say if a sample takes 25%, I'm left with the other 25%
plus your points over time.
Yeah, they don't touch the points. So just the publishing.
So you still got your 3 points.
Absolutely.
So on and so forth. All right, so we'll continue with us.
Absolutely. So yeah, man. So that was the first. That was my first 2 placements. You know, for me as a producer,